Jamie McMurray currently leads the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Principal Financial Group. After Jeff Gordon led the first 30 laps, McMurray has just pulled away. There's the differential. He is just setting sail.
Yeah, he's running some really quick lap times right here, and the only one I see on the board is Mark Martin that's able to run those lap times right now. Mark Martin is in 4th spot, though.
Yeah, Jamie McMurray's only less than a half a straightaway. So he's got about 15 or 20 race cars that he's going to encounter trying to lap, and they're racing hard.
That'll slow him up.
99 car, Carl Edwards on the move. Our co-points leader coming into the weekend. Jamie.
He sure was, and it doesn't seem to be bothering him. That rear end damage we're talking about, he sustained. The team elected to keep him out. So far, so good. Bob Osborne, his crew chief, told me this morning this car is better on the long runs. They were fastest in happy hour yesterday. That was something they discovered. As long as this thing stays clean, he's going to continue picking them off. Right now, guys, 8. Kyle Busch is his next victim. Dave?
Hey guys, the 16 of Greg Biffle right now trying to pick up position since that restart. Hasn't said anything on the radio right now. They're just trying to make sure they get back through traffic without incident. Greg restarted in the 27th position, so he's already made up over 10 spots, so he is going quick.
Yeah, Greg's coming along pretty good. He's about a half a lap behind, but he's going to be able to close that gap in a couple of minutes because Jamie McMurray gets to the back of this of the field to start lapping them.
And here's a guy that's got the comeback award thus far today after being involved in an incident on lap 2. Kurt Busch got a lap down, got the free pass to get back on the lead lap, and he has now come all the way from 42nd up to 26th position.
I tell you what, guys, I think the rear bumper getting knocked off that 2-car, Kurt Busch, is actually helping. That thing really hangs down into the wind. A lot of the drivers I've talked to, they said if they can relieve the pressure underneath that car, should go faster to straightaway. It's not hurt Kurt Busch at all right now.
Yeah, we've seen cars look better. This car looks ragged, but that does seem to help to get that back bumper off. You know, you really want to raise it up. I mean, that would help more than anything. You take it off, and it does actually help the aerodynamics.
Back up front, Jamie McMurray in the 26 car. Started in 9th position and has now led the last 12 laps. Dave.
We mentioned he raced in the Nationwide Series race yesterday, finished 8th, but really had a top 5 car and had a pit snafu during one of the stops. So what about the car today? What's he saying about it? Here's what he said.
You're going to be pretty fast right here, so take care of your tires a little bit. Yeah, I'm just cruising. Pretty loose, in and off still, tight middle.
Crew Chief Larry Carter can take care of that, but when a driver's just cruising, even in a crazy place like this, guys, it's a good thing.
I can assure you, it's nice when you got a car that you can just cruise with, and he's cruising around here faster than anybody else right now, I'll assure you. But he's put a couple of cars a lap down, the 96 of Ken Schrader and Kyle Petty.
Yeah, he's going to have his hands full here, and he's got to work pretty hard to get by these lap cars. But the other guys are going to have to work their way through the lap cars too.
Jamie's last win came 45 races ago at Daytona in rather dramatic fashion in July of 2007.
Yeah, what we see with Jamie, he's able to go to the bottom or to the top to pass these cars, and that'll be very beneficial to him here today.
Back in 9th and 10th, a couple of chase drivers. The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, there he comes by in 9th spot, and the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 10th.
Yeah, Junior started off running down to the bottom. We see he's moved up the racetrack quite a bit. Pretty high on the racetrack, trying to get a run down off the corner where he can get his car straighter. So I would say that he's fighting the handling a little bit right now.
Well, one thing I'm seeing is the lap times are slowing way down. The fastest lap that Jamie McMurray ran in the race was a 23.96. He's now running 25.60s, passing these guys. So they're going to be looking for places on the racetrack that can help them where they don't fall off so much.
Yesterday we saw in the Nationwide race the new right side tire that Goodyear brought for the Cup, and Nationwide cars actually got better the more they ran on it.
Well, this car is so much harder on right side tires, and you know, there's one of the things this track has been is hard on tires. It's always been one of the hardest tracks we go to. And a lot of times the teams will do things that'll tempt you, you know, that you can make the car go through the corner, like put more camber in the right front or some A-frames that would accelerate that. We see Jimmy Johnson, his car looks like it's working pretty good.
But look at that high groove up there. The 88's moved up there, and he's clicking off some good laps.
One of the things that you look for is that you don't want to see tire problems. And that's one thing that guys have to be a little more conservative here so they don't cause problems.
Yeah, I think, Andy, what you said was key. This car is harder on those right side tires, and the other factor is that it's quite a bit hotter here today, so it'll be interesting to see as we see Clint Boyer trying to make a pass on Dale Jr. right now for that 10th spot.
Boyer makes the pass and goes by. Now Martin Truex will begin to move in on the 88 car. We mentioned that Earnhardt Jr. was the fastest car in the afternoon session yesterday, but in the late session they totally changed the car around and he was still 8th quickest.
Yeah, they probably went back to what they had, and the track is a lot different right now, though. Just by looking at these lap times, they're so much slower than they were in happy hour. We saw the 07 of Clint Boyer early in the race. He was actually in the way, and now we see him going back to the front.
And we heard Martin Truex, who's right behind Dale Jr. there, say that this race was going to slow down quite a bit. And so he was hoping that he could get his car good. As things slow down, his car might not slow down as much.
Tony Stewart, who had a pretty remarkable comeback in New Hampshire last week after a cut tire put him back to 36 and a speeding penalty back to 30th. He still managed a top 10 finish. Shannon.
Yeah, Tony Stewart started this race 33rd, guys. He came and pitted on lap 13, and that was just to check that grill for some grass. He, of course, had to go through the grass to avoid the wreck between Kurt Busch and the 15 of Paul Menard. The temperature was up to about 240. Right now, all is good with the temperature. The car is just a little bit tight for Tony in the middle and at the end of the turn.
Yeah, Tony's trying to make a pass on Michael Waltrip, who's running really well. He was running 19th right there before Tony went by, but Michael's as high on the racetrack as any other car here, and that's pretty typical of Michael. He likes to get up there and let his car roll and then really drive it hard off the corner, and just as I say that, he's down on the bottom, but in previous laps, he had been up there pretty high, especially down in turns 1 and 2.
He had gained 20 spots since the start of the race. But right now what I see is the track changing some, and some of these guys that were good earlier are fading, and some of the guys that were not good are going to the front.
Biffle, remember, he's one of the guys that made the pit stop, one of the 17 cars that came in and made the pit stop. Restarted in 27th position back on lap 17. And now Greg Biffle, last week's winner, finds himself in 13th position.
You know, come in and get those tires. If you can have a long green run, you can really make up a lot of spots because these other guys have older tires than you, and so this can be beneficial to you. We see Dale Jr. losing about 3 spots right there.
Dale Jr.'s car just going away as he is backsliding now through the field. He'll be shown back in about 15th position. 54 of 400 laps in the books here at Dover. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
ABC's Emmy-nominated Dancing with the Stars returns tomorrow night with a 3-night live premiere event. Warren Sapp, Misty May Traynor, Maurice Green among the 13 new stars competing in what promises to be the biggest and most demanding season yet, only on ABC. Jamie McMurray is the leader of today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Dover International Speedway. He's out by a 2nd and 7/10 on Jeff Gordon. McMurray and Gordon, the only 2 drivers to have led thus far. Greg Biffle, been keeping an eye on him. Rusty, he pitted from 3rd position under the caution back at lap 14, went back to 27th, and boy, is he picking his way back through the field.
I'll tell you what, he put tires on that car, Alan, just drove that baby all the way up through the field, and so it's proven to me right now, new tires really mean a lot. The cars have almost fell off 2 seconds from the start of the race. This soft right side tire is really starting to slow up. I like that type of racing, though, but Brad just building a lot of rubber build up on the outside of the track now.
Absolutely, and they're trying to keep a lot of pressure off that right front tires. We saw yesterday in the nationwide race. It's very important to take care of that right front, and most of our chasers are doing that, as all of them are in the top 17.
So the Biff in his Ford up to the 11th spot after the pass on Martin Truex Jr. And let's go up to speed presented by Ford and check out some of the other drivers. Wait a minute, we got somebody in trouble. We do. Joe Nemechek. Well, there's all the telltale signs of right front after a long green flag run. Weren't you just saying that?
Just talking about it.
All right, caution is out, 3rd time in the race. And Doc, we said it, it happened.
We saw it yesterday, AB, and now Joe Nemechek is the victim here. 3rd caution of the day, lap 64. And he brings the remains of his Chevy down pit road, heavy right side damage. That will allow these guys, these 26 cars that did not come on pit road a little bit ago, to now come in and get some fresh tires.
Oh, yeah, and they want them bad because the lap times have really slowed up, and a lot of guys are not happy with their car.
Yeah, and that's about the same time as yesterday, Andy, that happened. Elliott Sadler's going to get the free pass here But about the same time that happened yesterday, so they could have been one of those guys that need an adjustment, maybe some extra camber there.
Yeah, they may have had just a little bit too much. It's so tempting here to do that because there's so much speed to be gained. But boy, it sure is risky.
Here they come down 35 miles an hour. The first time the lead group has actually all come on to pit road. Mike.
And Matt Kenseth will lead him down pit road. Remember how tight these pit boxes are. Pay attention to that. Matt Kenseth saying he's a little bit loose. They're going to try to tighten him up with a wedge adjustment. They also were pretty secret about their changes. He told Chip Bolin told Matt, we're going to make those left side adjustments we talked about. The 4-tire change as well. Jamie.
Four-time winner here. Mark Martin pulls into the pit box. They wanted to concentrate on 4 tires and fuel this run only. No adjustments because of how tight the pit road is. That's all they did. Dave?
Leader Jamie McMurray is leaving pit road now, almost a block in there. He said to his crew chief Larry Carter, whatever you do, don't get carried away. They put in a quarter of the air pressure change they were talking about that they started the race with. So just a slight adjustment for McMurray.
Matt Kenseth's crew getting it done again this week. They up 4 spots, and Hamlin up 4. McMurray loses 4 positions on that exchange on pit road. Here's why we were under caution for the 3rd time today. The 78 car coming at you. Heavy contact for Joe Nemechek's Chevrolet. Back with a restart from Dover in just a moment.